Exposed, the incredible hidden truth behind China's superpower dreams. A life-changing discovery. In a quiet Midwestern town, a humble mechanic named Tom was the heartbeat of his community. His family-owned auto shop stood proudly on Main Street, the reassuring sounds of engines revving and tires rolling filling the air. At 34, Tom poured his heart and soul into his work, fueled by the lessons his father, a military veteran, had imparted on him: integrity and self-reliance. But as whispers of economic despair echoed through the town, Tom felt a weight in his chest, threatening to crush everything he held dear. One fateful day, social media exploded with a video revealing the dark nexus between local businesses and overseas corporations exploiting cheap labor. The reality struck like a lightning bolt. What used to be a bustling town filled with laughter and neighborly bonds morphed into a shell of confusion. Tom's heart sank as he realized this wasn't just an economic blow, it was an attack on their way of life. He fought against a rising tide of apathy, imploring neighbors to unite against these forces threatening to destroy their community fabric. "Tom, we need to look for sponsorships, or we might lose everything," Sarah, his sister, insisted one evening. Her hopeful eyes clashed with Tom's grit as they stood in their family home, reminiscing about their father's unwavering morals. "This isn't just about the shop. It's about survival." Frustration bubbled inside Tom. "Loyalty and hard work built this town. We can't sacrifice our values for a quick fix." Silent moments stretched between them, filled with the lingering scent of engine oil and memories. Each argument stung deeper, the tension was palpable, almost as suffocating as the looming threat of corporate greed stealing their dreams. Then came the crushing news that a beloved veteran, who had devoted his life to protecting their town, faced eviction due to skyrocketing rents. This hit Tom like a punch to the gut. His chest tightened, fighting against the tears that threatened to spill. This was no longer just about the auto shop, this was about the heart and soul of their community. Determined to fight, Tom resolved to organize a town hall meeting. He felt a sense of urgency racing through him like a revved engine. It was a chance to rally the townsfolk, to bring hope back to the fading pulse of their town. As faces began to gather, a spectrum of emotions ran through him: fear, excitement, and the fierce desire to protect the home he loved. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the night descended, Tom stood at the front, the weight of his community's expectations heavy on his shoulders. Nervous chatter filled the room as people shifted in their seats. He took a breath, ready to expose the hidden truths threatening their lives. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a shocking revelation swept through the audience: a scandal that would change everything he thought he knew about honor, sacrifice, and community ties. Gasps echoed, eyes widened. The stakes had never felt higher. Would Tom find a way to unite his town before it was too late, or would he become yet another casualty in the fight against the very system he vowed to stand against? Tom's heart raced as he faced the crowd, the air thick with anticipation and anxiety. He could feel the heat of their gazes, a sea of familiar faces that now felt like strangers. For a moment, doubt clawed at him. Would his voice be strong enough? "Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I know we all feel the weight of uncertainty, the fear of what's happening to our town," he started, his voice wavering slightly. "But there is something we need to address together." Whispers broke out, unsure murmurs mixed with concern. Tom took a step closer to the edge, grounding himself with the knowledge that his life and the lives of those he loved depended on this moment. He cleared his throat. "I just learned that our local council has been making secret deals with corporations overseas. They've allowed companies to come in, taking our jobs and paying our neighbors less than what they're worth," he continued, watching their expressions change from curiosity to disbelief. "They talk a big game about growth, but at what cost? More gasps erupted, tension filled the room like a storm cloud. Tom's sister, Sarah, stood near the back, eyes wide, looking for a sign that this was more than just another bad news story. "Look, we've been loyal to each other and to this town, but it's time for us to be loyal to ourselves. We can't allow our community's heartbeat to fade because of greed." His fervor stirred the crowd. Some people nodded, others murmured cautiously, but the undeniable shift started to unfold. Just then, Mr. Daniels, a respected businessman, stood up. "But Tom, what about the jobs they're bringing in? There are families who rely on this income. Are we supposed to turn away opportunities?" Tom felt the weight of that question. He had thought of that. At what point do we sacrifice our dignity for a paycheck? If these companies don't support fair wages and local growth, are they truly helping us? Silence engulfed the room. It was a tough pill to swallow. Voices started rising, some in agreement, others in strident dissent. The steady hum of conflict was palpable, filling the air like static electricity. Tom sensed it was the moment to push further. "Let us not forget, we're all part of the same fabric," he implored. "A veteran in this room is about to lose his home. Someone who fought for us. If we let ourselves be divided, we'll be conquered. We have to band together." His words surged like a tide, drawing energy from the depths of their collective struggle. Faces began softening, and a few murmured encouragement. "You're right, Tom. We need to protect our own." Sarah's voice piped up from the back. "We have every right to fight for our town. There's strength in us." The room erupted into a flurry of affirmations and shouts. Hope mingled with anger, igniting a flame that had long been dormant in their hearts. Tom stood taller, emboldened by the growing resolve around him, but just as they began to plan their next steps, a figure lurked at the back of the room, shadowed and mysterious. Tom glanced over, a cold shiver prickling at the base of his spine. Who were they, and why were they here? "Everyone!" Tom shouted, trying to cut through the chaos around him. "We're on the brink of something pivotal, but we need to act quickly and wisely." The crowd fell silent again, tension coiling back as the watchers stepped forward, their eyes glinting with an unsettling confidence. "What if I told you I could help you, but it would come with a price?" Fear rippled through Tom as he realized they were not alone in this fight. Who were they truly aligned with? As uncertainty settled deep in his gut, Tom had to make a choice: trust the stranger, or confront the unknown threat head-on. And in that haunting moment of possibility, he understood this fight was only just beginning. Tom's heart thundered in his chest, creating a rhythm of tension that filled the room. The enigmatic figure stepped closer, casting an ominous shadow across the crowd. Whispers cascaded like ripples through water. Were they friend or foe? Trust or treachery? "Who are you?" Tom called out, desperation lacing his words. "What do you want from us?" The stranger smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Just a chance to help, and maybe some leverage. The voice was silky, like oil whispered in the wind. Tom's instincts screamed caution, but he couldn't let the fear paralyze him. This was too important. Help doesn't come at a price. "You should know that," Sarah shouted, stepping beside Tom, her voice clear and strong. Her defiance stirred something in the crowd, a hint of unity. "Your people are crumbling under the weight of their own ignorance," the stranger retorted, eyeing Sarah like a predator sizing up its prey. "And I can promise you, if you don't act soon, every one of those jobs will vanish. Trust me when I say the council's deals have a deeper threat than you understand." Unease twisted in Tom's gut as he noticed nods of doubt among his neighbors. They were scared, worried about their livelihoods, their futures. He could see it etched across their faces like cracks in glass, fragile and yearning to heal. Enough with the vague threats. Tom pressed, trying to wrest back control of the meeting. "We deserve honesty, especially now. You claim to know about the council's deals, can you prove any of this?" The stranger paused, as if weighing Tom's determination against the desire to reveal their hand. A glimmer of something flickered in their eyes, but they remained silent. I can't just stand idly by while secrets destroy our lives, Tom declared, rallying the crowd again. They had come for answers, but they needed action. What can we do right now? Then, an elderly woman near the front raised her hand. We need a plan. We can't let them make decisions without us. There's a town hall meeting next week, and we should all show up. Let them see we will not be ignored. A wave of agreement flowed through the crowd, voices rising with newfound vigor. Yes. We'll stand together. Echoed various voices. Tom felt heat radiating through him, a mix of anger and hope. If we gather our stories, share the truths we know and challenge their lies, they will have to listen. Let us make our presence known and demand transparency. The outsider's expression darkened. Be careful, Tom. They want to play fair. But we can't let fear be our guide, Sarah responded fiercely. You want to help? Show us. Trust is a two-way street. A moment of silence passed. Tom stared at the stranger, searching their enigmatic face for any sign of truth. Fine, the figure finally said, crossing their arms. Meet me tomorrow at the old diner. I'll tell you what I know. But remember, information comes with consequences. The room buzzed with adrenaline, hope stirring under layers of uncertainty. Could they take this risk? As the crowd dispersed, Tom and Sarah shared a look of determination, knowing they were stepping into an uncharted territory. They could fight or fall, but they would do it together. The stakes were too high to turn back now. Tom turned to Sarah, his resolve hardening. We gather our people, and will hold them accountable, but we must tread cautiously. If we do this right, we can reclaim our town. Just as Sarah nodded, commitment etched across her face, a distant noise, a sharp crash echoed from the back of the room. They turned to see the shadowy figure retreat amid the chaos of the crowd, laughter trailing behind them. Tom. What do we do now? Her voice trembled, the weight of the moment settled heavily on his shoulders. Now we prepare for whatever comes next. And we stay united. Their threat is real, and this is only the beginning. With the question of trust gnawing at him, Tom could feel a storm brewing, both within and beyond the confines of his small town. What had he set in motion? And could they survive the fallout? Tom paced back and forth in his small kitchen, the worn floorboards creaking under his weight. The din of the crowd still echoed in his ears, blending with the stranger's unsettling words. He shot a glance at the clock. The diner meeting was only a few hours away. Do you think we're doing the right thing? Sarah's voice broke through the haze of his thoughts, her brow furrowed with concern. She stood with her arms crossed, a mirror of his own anxiety. Tom took a breath, grounding himself in the moment. I know we're risking a lot, but we can't just sit back and let them decide our fate. What happened in there, it felt bigger than us. She nodded, biting her lip. But that figure, they could be playing us. It's like they knew exactly what to say to stir everyone up. They also sparked action, didn't they? Tom shot back, determination spilling into his words. The community is ready to rally together. We just need to channel that energy. With a hesitant sigh, Sarah joined him at the table, fingers tapping against the surface. And hope they're on our side, or at least not against us. If it all backfires, then we just adapt, he insisted, his heart thrumming in sync with their shared tension. We have each other. This might be our chance to fight back and make a real difference. The sun began to set, casting golden light that flooded through the small kitchen window, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air. Tom's phone buzzed, breaking the silence. He grabbed it eagerly, expecting a message, but it was just a spam notification. Frustrated, he tossed it back down next to his half-empty coffee cup. Maybe we should talk to some of the others before we go, Sarah suggested, her eyes brightening. They need to know what's coming, and we can build more momentum. Good idea, Tom agreed, the thought of gathering his friends spurring a swell of hope. Let's South meet at the park in an hour. Maybe we can even catch a few people who didn't make it to the meeting. They hurriedly threw on their jackets, the crisp air outside refreshing and sharp against their skin. As they stepped outside into the cool twilight, the vibrant colors of dusk painted the neighborhood. It was beautiful, but the deepening darkness hovered like a cloud over their thoughts. At the park, the fresh scent of grass mingled with the earthy aroma of damp soil. A group of familiar faces gathered under the flickering light of a nearby lamppost. Tom's heart leapt. This was the community, the backbone of their fight. "Hey, everyone!" Tom called, his voice breaking the early evening calm. Faces turned, questions and anticipation written clearly in their expressions. "Did you hear what happened at the meeting?" asked a young woman, her eyes wide with concern. "We did," Tom said, exchanging glances with Sarah. "But now we have a plan. We're meeting someone tomorrow who claims to know more about all of it." In that instant, he felt an energy shift. Whispers threaded through the group, faces began to light up with cautious curiosity. "You think they can actually help us?" a man with shaggy hair asked, raising an eyebrow. "I don't know," Tom admitted, the honesty weighing heavy on his tongue. "But we need allies if we're going to confront the council. Together, we have to be ready for anything." As they discussed ideas and strategies, an undercurrent of unity blossomed in the cool evening air. They shared stories, fears, and, slowly, shared a vision. Tom could see flickers of hope forming, illuminating the dark spaces in their hearts, yet, the shadow of uncertainty loomed over him. What if they were being led into a trap? The stranger's words lingered in his mind, caution and curiosity battling wildly. Just as they wrapped up their impromptu meeting, a loud rustle caught their attention. From behind the bushes, a figure emerged, unfamiliar, cloaked in a heavy coat, face obscured by shadows. A few gasps echoed through the group. Tom felt a jolt of recognition. "Who are you? What do you want?" "More than you can imagine," the stranger said, a wicked smile stretching across their lips. "And I've come with a warning." His heart raced anew. What lay ahead for them all? They had ignited something, but deep down, Tom knew the true test was just beginning. Would their courage withstand the challenges ahead? The stranger stepped closer, the lamppost's flickering light casting eerie shadows across their face. Tom strained to see more, heart pounding as a mixture of dread and anticipation coursed through him. "Listen carefully," the figure spoke, their voice low and urgent, like a whisper carried by the wind. "What you're about to do could change everything. But it could also destroy you." Tom exchanged glances with Sarah. They were no longer just pulling together their community, but also unwittingly bringing in danger. "What do you mean?" Tom pressed, his tone steady despite the tremor in his gut. "The council you intend to confront, they're not what they seem. Their motives run deep," the stranger insisted, gesturing for them all to come closer. "They've got plans. Plans that involve not just the council, but entire regions. If you stand against them without knowing, there will be consequences." An uneasy murmur spread among the group. Faces shifted from curiosity to anxiety, and a few people exchanged worried looks. "Let us not let fear dictate our actions," Sarah piped up, stepping slightly in front of Tom. "What do you know about them? If you want to help, then help us by providing answers. We need to know what we're dealing with." The cloaked figure hesitated, the energy in the air thickening as they weighed their next words. Finally, they took a deep breath and leaned closer. "I've been watching them closely. They thrive on chaos. They feed off division. If you can unite your community, your power will grow. But be warned, not everyone who seems to support you will stand true when the real conflict begins." Tom felt a mix of determination and fear. His mind raced, piecing together fragments of what they had discussed even earlier. "You're suggesting there are spies among us? Or worse, that we have traitors in our midst?" "Exactly." The stranger's gaze softened, as though the weight of the warning pressed on their shoulders. "This uphill battle will test mettle and loyalty. Be prepared, trust few, and know that when you gather strength, your shadows will rise from the dark. Silence enveloped them. Tom's heart thudded loudly against his ribs. He turned to Sarah, who appeared just as shaken yet fiercely determined. "Do we really want to go down this road?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper now. "We may be drawing more danger towards us." Tom took a breath. "We have to. This is our home. If we give up now, it'll all be for nothing. We wouldn't just be losing our future, but the future of everyone here." As murmurs of agreement spread, Tom felt the collective will of the group, an undercurrent of commitment that melted the chill of fear. But that realization was tempered by unease. The cloaked figure straightened, their posture heavy with purpose. "Meet me at the old bridge, at midnight." Their tone was now a command, grounded and resolute. "I'll show you why this is worth the risk." As quickly as they had appeared, the figure turned and slipped back into the shadows, leaving the group reeling from what they just heard. "Midnight?" One man echoed incredulously, the implication of a clandestine meeting hanging in the air. Tom felt the night grow thicker, the trace of uncertainty curling around their hope. Their gathering had ignited something powerful, but it had also attracted darkness. "Are we going?" he asked, looking around at his friends, not just allies now, but a family woven by shared dreams. "Together," Sarah affirmed, her eyes locking with his. "We'll face whatever comes." But as the stars twinkled above, a sinking feeling crept into Tom's heart. The cloak of night was heavy, and with it came a feeling that they were stepping into a game far larger than they could comprehend. Would they be ready to play it? As they started to disperse, the question lingered: what would they uncover at the bridge? And would they still be standing together when the dawn broke? The hours crept by like shadows lengthening beneath the moonlight. Tom's mind buzzed with thoughts of the midnight meeting. He felt as if he were standing at the edge of a storm, waiting for the winds to whip through. The future felt uncertain, fraught with danger, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that they had to meet the cloaked figure. Sarah paced in their living room, her fingertips brushing against her chin. "What if it's a trap?" she questioned, a hint of worry glossing her eyes. "We're putting everyone at risk. What if the council already knows about us?" "They might," Tom admitted, the gravity of her words striking him like a physical blow. "But if we don't confront this, we'll be losing control. We can't live in fear." "Should we prepare for a fight, then?" she asked, for once looking out towards the darkening sky for reassurance. Tom shook his head. "Not yet. Let us see what they have to say. If they're telling the truth, then knowledge is our strongest weapon." Not long after, the group reconvened. The faces of their neighbors and friends were drawn, a mix of curiosity and apprehension. There was a murmur of anxiety, they were stepping into the unknown together. "Did everyone bring a flashlight?" someone called out, breaking the tension slightly. Their laughter, nervous but real, echoed in the small crowd. As they neared the old bridge, the chill of night crept deeper into their bones. The air was electric, charged with uncertainty. They paused at the bridge's entrance, glancing at one another, each heartbeat loud enough to drown out the night. Tom took a deep breath, feeling the weight of anticipation nestled tightly inside him. "We're not alone in this," he said, voice firm. "We're stronger together." But uncertainty hung in the air like a thick fog. Each step felt monumental, echoing against the cracked wooden planks. What lay ahead? Who would they meet? Were they prepared for the truths that might unravel before them? Just then, a noise from the shadows caught their attention. A figure appeared, emerging from the murkiness, cloaked in the same dark fabric as before. Instinctively, Tom's heart raced. The figure raised a hand as a sign of peace. "Thank you for coming," the stranger said, their voice low but steady, cutting through the tension. "Tonight is crucial." As they gathered closer, Sarah shot Tom a sideways glance. She seemed to sense the significance of the moment, but doubt still flickered there. The figure continued, voice urgent and direct. What you face is bigger than you realize. Your community is at the brink. The council I have proof of their deception. Tom's heart raced. What proof? What do we need to know? Follow me, the stranger motioned, slipping into the shadows again. As they followed, Tom's chest tightened. Curiosity mingled with fear. What truth would be revealed? What kind of danger had they truly invited into their lives by stepping onto this path? Suddenly, they halted before a concealed entrance beneath the bridge. It was small, dimly lit, and the air was thick with anticipation. Tom could feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Are we ready for this? He whispered to Sarah. She took a moment to search his face, her determination evident despite the fear. Together, she said, squeezing his hand tightly. Whatever comes next, we face it as one. With that, they stepped through the entrance. Shadows loomed large, the darkness ahead whispered secrets they couldn't quite grasp yet. What awaited them on the other side? Would it be revelation or ruin? As they went deeper into the tunnel, the echo of their footsteps mingled with a distant sound, a rumble, perhaps. A hint of chaos promising to unravel. It was a collision of fate, and they could feel it closing in. The question hung in the air: would they emerge unscathed as allies, or would their resolve shatter under the weight of the hidden truths they were about to reveal? The narrow passage wound deeper into obscurity, the light from their flickering flashlights barely piercing the darkness. Each step felt heavier, time stretching like taffy as the silence wrapped around them. Tom glanced at Sarah, her eyes wide with both fear and resolve. Their hands remained tightly clasped, a connection that anchored him amidst the uncertainty. Do you hear that? Someone whispered behind them. The group turned, straining to catch the sound. A low rumbling echoed ahead, a heartbeat resonating in the walls, pulsing with the promise of secrets yet untold. Stay close, Tom urged, feeling the responsibility of leadership seep into his bones. This wasn't just about him and Sarah anymore, it was about everyone who had dared to follow them into the unknown. The cloaked figure led with a quiet confidence, glancing back occasionally, eyes alight with urgency. There's more to what you're facing than just the council. The very fabric of your lives could change tonight, they said, their tone almost reverent. What kind of change? Sarah's voice sliced through the tension. What do you mean? The figure paused, their silhouette a dark contrast against the faint light ahead. Identification matters little in this realm. Power. Connection. It binds us all. But you must learn to wield it. They continued moving, the tunnel narrowing as they approached a chamber. Tom could feel the air shift, charged with anticipation. Something big was about to unfold. Stepping into the cavern, his heartbeat quickened. The walls glimmered with bioluminescent markings, the colors swirling in patterns that seemed alive, dancing under the struggling light. What is this place? One of the group gasped, staring wide-eyed at the vivid displays. Welcome to the heart of echoes, the figure said, their voice echoing in the vast space. Together, you hold the key to this community's future. Tom stepped forward, fueled by curiosity. What do you mean? How can we hold the key? The cloaked figure produced an ancient-looking tome from within their folds, its cover worn and fragile. This book contains the history, the lessons, and the powers you have yet to unlock. The council feasts on your ignorance, your fears. This is your chance to reclaim what's lost. The group leaned closer. They could see fragments of strange symbols alongside illustrations of people uniting, their faces glowing with hope. An air of inspiration began to mix with their dread. But knowledge requires sacrifice, the figure warned, the gravity of their words falling heavily like a stone. You may be forced to confront what you dread in order to stand together. Tom felt a knot in his stomach. What kind of sacrifices were they talking about? Their faces turned to each other, worried whispers rippling through the group. What were they willing to give up? Would friendship survive the trials that lay ahead? Can we do this? Sarah's voice trembled, but her eyes were fierce. We need to know. We have to decide now. Before Tom could respond, the distant rumble intensified. The ground beneath them shifted, a vibration that felt like the pulse of the city above, something dangerous, something pressing on them. Anxiety flooded the air. "You must choose," the cloaked figure urged. "Trust and unity will be your shield, but fear may threaten to tear you apart. What you learn tonight will change everything." As they stood there, a feeling of dread twisted in Tom's stomach. Faced with the unknown, could they unite their community, or would fear splinter them apart? That decision loomed like a storm cloud, a warning of the chaos that could follow. Would they find the courage to embrace truth, or would they allow darkness to swallow them whole? Each of them would soon find out just how strong their bonds really were and what they were truly willing to risk. The air crackled around them, as if charged with the weight of their choice. Were they ready to step deeper into the unknown and confront the heart of their fears? The air felt electric, thick with tension and unspoken fears. Tom swallowed hard, glancing around at the faces of his friends. He saw the uncertainty etched in their expressions, the flicker of hope battling against the crushing weight of dread. He wanted to reassure them, to weave their worries into something lighter. But the rumble drew closer, reverberating through his very bones, a reminder that time was not on their side. "Okay," he finally said, his voice steadying. "We can't let this moment slip away. Whatever it takes, we do this together." Sarah squeezed his hand tighter, a silent promise of support. There was strength in her grip, a reminder that they weren't alone. The others nodded, a shared determination blooming in the air around them. "What's in the book?" someone asked, their voice barely above a whisper. The cloaked figure approached, holding the tome like it was the finest treasure, a delicate balance between wisdom and danger. "It holds memories, stories of those who came before. It lets you see the strength of unity, and the cost of division," they explained, their voice low and resonant. Tom took a deep breath. "So, how does it work? Do we just open it?" His heart raced as he imagined the possibilities, but a voice in his head cautioned against the unknown. "The choice is yours to make," the figure replied. "Before you can unlock its power, you must decide what you are willing to sacrifice." The rumble intensified, shaking the walls of the chamber. It felt like a timer ticking down to something monumental. The colors on the wall brightened, swirling faster, begging to be understood. Tom's eyes flitted across the symbols, searching for answers. Hope flickered faintly among uncertainty. "Let us unlock it," Sarah urged, her determination cutting through the unease gathering in the room. "We can't turn back now." Nods of agreement rippled through the group. As one, they stepped closer to the cloaked figure, who placed the book on a raised stone pedestal. The air shimmered as the book opened, pages fluttering as though caught in an unseen breeze. The symbols began to glow, casting soft light on their faces. Each mark seemed to pulse with a frequency that resonated deep within Tom. Suddenly, fragments of memories floated before him, visions of a community bound by respect and love, but also tainted by betrayal and fear. "Each of you carries a piece of this community's power," the figure said. "To find it, you must face your deepest fears. Together, you can reclaim what was lost." And then, the ground shook violently. Tom stumbled as the very tunnel seemed to cave in around them. Panic seized his heart, and in that moment, everything felt impossibly fragile. "Stay together," he shouted, grabbing Sarah's arm and looking to the others for support. "We need to stay focused. Don't let fear win." In the chaos, the memory fragments grew brighter, and then, a figure emerged, a boy with familiar eyes that had once sparkled with joy, now clouded with sorrow. Tom's breath caught. It was his younger self, standing at the edge of a memory he wished to forget. The boy looked at him, eyes pleading for recognition, for understanding. Everything inside Tom screamed to look away, to retreat. But he remembered Sarah's grip, the unity they forged in this dark place. Their bonds were stronger than any fear. "Face it," he whispered, not just to himself but to everyone. "Whatever comes next, we do it together." As the ground trembled, the boy smiled, a flicker of hope that ignited something deep within him. They all felt it, an invisible thread binding them together. The echoes of their past surged, waiting for resolution. What would they find? What truth lay behind that flickering light, and would they be ready to confront it? In that moment, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that something far greater awaited them, and it might just change everything. The light intensified, swirling around them like a gentle whirlwind. Tom felt a rush of warmth, pushing back against the cold fear that had been gripping him. He could see Sarah, her face illuminated in a soft glow, eyes wide with expectation and uncertainty. The others were close, mirroring that same mixture of dread and bravery. "Look!" someone exclaimed, breaking the silence. The memories began to coalesce, the forms of people from the past becoming clearer. Faces he recognized, faces of friends and family he'd lost along the way, flickered in and out as if dancing just beyond reach. "Those are our people," Tom said, his voice thick with emotion. "They were part of this community. What happened to them?" His heart raced as pieces of his own past brushed against his consciousness like old photographs blooming back to life. "They were lost," the cloaked figure replied, stepping closer to the group. "Divided by fear, torn apart by loss. You must understand their stories to find your way forward." As the boy's smile faded into shadows, Tom felt a weight settling on his chest. He recalled the arguments over trivialities, the friendships fraying under pressure. He thought of the division that had pulled them apart before the darkness settled in. The realization hit him hard. Fear and misunderstandings had driven them away from each other. "Can we really change that?" Sarah's voice trembled slightly. "Can we really bring them back?" The cloaked figure nodded. "The truth is an empowering force, but it demands courage. To confront these memories is to accept the fragments of your own identity. Are you ready to face what lies within?" Tom glanced around at his friends. Their expressions mirrored his own turmoil, but there was also a flicker of resolve. They had lost too much already. This needed to end. "We're ready," Tom said firmly, even though doubt still lingered in his heart. "Together. We face whatever comes next together." At that, the symbols on the walls began to shimmer more intensely. A hush fell over the chamber, and the glowing fragments of memory shifted, coalescing into a larger picture. Tom stepped forward, taking a breath, unwilling to let the moment slip away. As he reached out, the scene shifted abruptly, revealing the boy's full story: his laughter, his dreams, the moment of betrayal that changed everything. Tom felt a pang of regret, seeing the influence of his own fear reflected in that boy's eyes. He could almost hear the echoes of their earlier selves. Why didn't we listen? Why didn't we stand by one another? It was then that an overwhelming wave of understanding washed over him. They were guided by their pasts, but they also had the power to reshape their future. Each face they had once known, every moment they had shared, was now calling him to act. From the depths of the glowing symbols, the ground trembled again, but this time it felt different. A sense of urgency sparked as the tensions of the past wrapped around them with clarity. Tom turned to his friends, determination swelling within his chest. "This is our chance to unite. Together, we can face anything," he said, searching each of their eyes for the courage he felt swimming around the room. "Let us reclaim it," Sarah whispered, her voice filled with a fearless resolve. And just as they prepared to confront the impending confrontation, the ground shook violently once more, and everything around them began to change. Shadows deepened, the light dimmed, threatening to pull them apart. Fear rose with palpable intensity. Tom's mind raced with uncertainty. What awaited them on the other side of this revelation? Would they find strength or lose themselves in the shadows of their fears? He wouldn't let go. Holding Sarah's hand tighter, he gritted his teeth against the chaos. The moment of truth was upon them, but could their unity withstand the storm? As the ground trembled beneath their feet, Tom felt the pull of the unknown and everything hung in the balance. Would they rise above their darkest memories, or would they be swallowed by them? The moment slammed down like a hammer, shaking the earth around them. Tom stood at the center of it all, adrenaline filling his veins. He felt like the pulse of the town itself, vibrating with anticipation, hope, and a hint of fear. The haunting memories danced in the air, pulling at his heartstrings, almost begging for recognition, for redemption. Together. He shouted, his voice carrying through the chaos. No matter what happens next, we stand united. A chorus of agreement echoed from the group, waves of determination radiating back and forth. Faces lit up once more, fear was still there but it had morphed into something stronger: resolve. The ground shook again, but this time it felt different, less like an ominous force and more like an awakening. The glowing symbols pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat urging them forward. Tom stepped into the vortex of the light, Sarah right beside him. They faced the storm of shadows together, their hands clasped tight. Here it was the moment of truth. "Let it in," Tom exclaimed. "Let us confront what haunts us." With that, the symbols shimmered and a wave of energy crashed over them. Suddenly, the chamber around them transformed. The shadows receded, revealing scenes of their community flourishing, smiling neighbors sharing meals, children playing in the streets, laughter ringing in the air like music. Memories of what once was flickered, reminding them why they had come together in the first place. The weight of the past was heavy, but it also shimmered with the beauty of shared experiences. Tears filled his eyes, but he didn't want to weep for loss. Instead, he felt hope blooming within him. "This is it," he shouted, inspiration flowing. "We can bring this back. We've got the power to revive our spirit, to heal what has been broken." The invisible threads connecting them grew tighter. His friends opened their hearts, sharing their own stories of pain and hope. Sarah stepped forward, voice clear and strong, "We've fought so hard, against fears and doubts. Together, we can turn this tide, turn back to the warmth we've lost." The light brightened, coiling around them like a protective embrace. But then, without warning, a counterforce pushed back. The remnants of fear kicked up like a dust storm, swirling around their ankles and threatening to pull them apart. The cloaked figure hovered back in view, their smile cryptic. "You think knowledge is your ally? Remember, you must fight for it. Understand what you risk. Fear divides, knowledge binds. Divided we fall," shouted a voice from the back. They all knew a neighbor who had secretly questioned his own loyalties until now. "You've warned us of the darkness, but we're shining our light here, now." Tom felt the energy shift again, melding anger and hope into a powerful surge. "We will let our stories be the foundation of our fight. We will not bow to the darkness." The light flared intensely, enveloping them in warmth that chased the shadows. In that moment, they weren't just a collection of individuals, they were a united front, a home woven by shared histories, built on love and loyalty. The cavern trembled, crescendoing against their voices. Tom knew what they had to do. "We will stand against the council. We will reclaim jobs. Rebuild our businesses. We will demand fair wages, demand respect, demand transparency." His voice rang out, feeling every heartbeat sinking with the passionate rally of those around him. The glow of the symbols reached a crescendo, pulsing in sync with the fervor of their convictions. "Together, we rise." Sarah cheered, and her voice sliced through the murmurs like a vibrant shield. Waves of clarity flowed through them, igniting their spirits like wildfire. "The future belongs to those who fight." The cloaked figure conceded, watching as their resolve poured forth like a golden beam. "But be vigilant. The stakes are high, and the council will strike back. Let them. Our community will rise unbowed." Tom proclaimed, the words pouring from him like an endless river. They were ready. Fueled by their gathering strength, they began to march out of the cavern, stepping toward their unfolding destiny. The path shifted as they emerged from the darkness. As the stars began to twinkle above them, the air felt electrified, a new dawn beginning to break. Each step they took felt lighter, freer. They were bound together by newfound trust, by the stories that would reshape their community. As they made their way back into the world waiting for them, Tom felt a power he'd never known. A promise pulsated in their very beings, they would rewrite their fate. Let us build a town that stands for dignity, honesty, and respect. A town where we can share our victories and hold one another up in the face of struggle. The night echoed with renewed hope, the murmurs of agreement growing stronger. United, they turned toward the challenges ahead, knowing they wouldn't face it alone. Together, they could revitalize their long-lost spirit and change everything for good. This was not just a new chapter, it was a whole new book, freshly written, one where every voice mattered and where love and unity were the ink. As they stepped forward, Tom knew that was just the beginning. The real challenge was waiting, but so was their shared strength, one forged in the fire of vulnerability, unveiling a truth that would resonate long into the future. Now was the moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you to fight through your struggles. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help our community reach more people. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter to us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the message. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Together, we can create a movement.